Hey, GM everyone, Little Panda here, as always, joined by Index Card. We got a great show for you today. There's a lot going on in nouns. We're going to talk about bribes, we're going to talk about forks, we're going to talk about action pauses, a bunch of other stuff. We got a great show coming up, and we're going to get started with Let's Play Little Nouns right after this. Hey, howdy Index, how are you doing tonight?
GM, I'm doing pretty well. Kind of a crazy week in nouns, and so there's quite a bit to talk about. Largely focused around like one topic, but yeah, great week for metagame and nouns, I'd say.
100%. Let's definitely get into that. Of course, we always got to run the disclaimer here. You're watching a live stream. This is an adventure. We are in fact sponsored by Little Nouns DAO. Yeah, we got 15.42 ETH for the sponsorship. You could read the entire prop here on chain on Ethereum. LittleNouns.wtf/vote/116. We're here every week breaking down kind of the latest in nouns as we develop our own prop, and also just track the staked ETH balance every week, which is up to 15,006 stETH. Not bad. Cool 4 million over the past 4 weeks. Looking good, huh, Index?
Yeah, I mean, I think if this was like any of our own wallets, it'd be the most exciting thing in the world. I know the staking kind of has some controversy in nouns, but I'm for it. I think as long as it's reasonable and all kind of I guess nouns is trying to diversify soon, which is kind of good. But I'm for it. I don't actually mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing it starting to be distributed out to builders and stuff, though. But it's exciting. You're muted if you're talking.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just an open reminder, any builder can propose to be paid in this staked ETH, which I think would be pretty cool. Shout out NounsTube. Yeah, shout out to our fans, by the way. On Yellow, sup. Loyal fan. On Yellow is here every week. Great to have you on Yellow, as always. Yeah, we break down this week in nouns. Index, you said that kind of there was one topic sort of on everyone's mind this week in nouns. What were you thinking?
Tends to go by quite a few names. Official name is governance pool from Federation. Some people call it bribe pool, bribe market. But yeah, this is kind of like the hot topic, and we've seen it in the last week really come into play. And I think it really like hit speed when Big Shot's Paper Noggles prop failed because Beautiful NFTs kind of bid against it through the Federation pool, and Big Shot chose not to buy the 4 to have the prop pass, and that kind of really set things off.
Yep. Yeah, we've covered this pretty much every week, I think, since Wiz released it June 13th. But yeah, let's go back to let's find this prop. So which prop was that? That was 316, right? Expanding global distribution.
Yeah, it wasn't the first prop to be swayed by the Federation pool, but it was the first prop to be swayed and fail due to the Federation pool. I mean, well, you can't necessarily attribute these things to one specific thing, but you could potentially attribute the failure of this prop to the Federation pool. Whereas
you could say,
past props couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, but for the Federation pool, this would have passed.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, obviously the bigger the Federation pool, the tougher it's going to be. But, we saw other props between this that kind of had a very clear direction. And so either like the hell yes or the hell no's were not really affected by Federation, but it was sort of these kind of in between props, which, in some ways I'm thinking it's not the worst case scenario because clearly the Dow doesn't feel too strongly in either direction. And so like the stakes are a little bit lower on these, but I think as the pool grows and we now see it at quite a large number as of like, I don't even know when that was in the last hour, then it starts to become a bigger factor on all props.
Yeah. And so this was a prop that asked for about 57,000 in USDC, and Beautiful NFTs here purchased the no side for these 36 nouns for 0.077 ETH. So that's, what is that? That's $30, something like that.
I think to bid the 4 was about 150 USD at the time. So I think this 0.077 was around like $140 at the time.
Yep. You're right here.
Yeah. Which is not really that expensive considering the amount of votes. I know the number that keeps getting thrown around, kind of rounded, is about $5 per vote, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, well, to jump into sort of the controversy here, I mean, I think the price of this pool, it's going to depend a lot on the prop, right? As you say, the hell yeses and the hell nos, it's not going to be very valuable really to either side. But it's these kind of middle of the road props, and it's potentially like much larger props that have some support, where my view is the bid might go for much, much higher.
I mean, like the kind of example that everyone's looking towards or throwing around is kind of the most controversial prop in a while, at least prior to being voted on, would be the Prop 324. And I'm kind of skipping ahead, but temporarily pausing the auctions. I think a lot of people are expecting that one to get a lot of action, but I don't really know for sure what the numbers are. I obviously come from like an against on this one, so maybe I'm biased in that it may not be as controversial as you want, or as people might think it's going to be, or as tight of a race, I should say. Controversy is, of course, like already kind of at a peak, but I'm not convinced yet, and this may be one of like the first ones I'm completely wrong on, that it's going to be that competitive. But I could be totally wrong.
Meaning you think it'll fail?
I think there's a lot of people in the middle that don't feel strongly enough about pausing the auctions as they do about just like managing spend in the DAO and being reasonable from their perspective. But we won't really know. I would be interested to see like the dormant voters that come out. My pitch?
No. Do you think it passes? Do you think it fails? Do you think it's hard to say?
I think it's defeated. That's my guess.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm guessing defeated. What's your take, if you have one?
This is actually a great segue to Mogu. Let's game it out, shall we? I'm going to go to the board here. And we are talking about
3-4.
Yeah, I don't see it here. Oh, because it's hasn't started voting yet. Okay. Okay, so start with a blank slate here. I think the Nounders are a no. I think that's quite obvious.
Hot dot 41.
He's definitely a no. I'd say
Put me as a
Nounsel's
no.
probably a no.
We can look right now. Let's see. Nouncil votes. Right now, it still actually needs more votes. But it's currently an against by a large margin. But it still needs more votes in Nouncil.
Okay. Who are the yeses? I would guess DCF is a yes. By the way, 22, I would guess is a.
He might just be inactive. He's very inactive right now.
Yeah, and I think
it's hard to say.
I think Poep could be a yes.
This is a very difficult one, honestly, to figure out. Right now in Littles, we still have a bunch of days left, but it's 259 against, and nobody else has voted. So I'm going to say Littles might be a no, but also we've seen some of the votes in Littles get to be very close.
Well, how do you think Will's going to vote on this?
I really don't know. I want to say he's a no, because okay, well, we're gonna get into like a tricky spot because he puts up proposals all the time, and he has no problem attaching his address to proposals that he believes in, whether it's the threshold, quorum type thing. So I'm inclined to say that if he felt the desire to pause an option, he would have done it himself, but I could be way wrong.
By the way, Seneca obviously
is a no.
Doesn't know.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Beauty and the Punk, probably a yes, right?
I want to say that's like, I would guess a no, but I don't know.
Okay. Joel's
a no.
Would be a no.
Gami is a no.
Yeah. Krell. A no.
Now 40 is a no, yeah.
Necfus got to be a no.
This is really tough, actually.
Look, here's what I'm saying. Let's say Lil Nouns is a no. Let's say the board looks like this, and then there's
find OX FC21. If is there the 20 vote guy? That's now 40 via Angora.
Okay, so that's a no. I'd assume.
Yeah, take that one off.
Noun 12 will vote, and I would assume he would vote no.
Yeah, he seems like one of those that just wants to be reasonable, but like he just thinks reasonably about props, but he still is not anti-nouns, like core meme.
Yeah, I mean, 61 in the Federation voting pool.
It's really only like 40 for this prop, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. It is only 40. But gosh, it's powerful. Like, say Will Price is actually a yes on this for some reason, and he swings Lil Nouns. Then your governance pool here carries this prop. So then the question is, I mean, if this prop is in range of the governance pool, who are the bidders on each side of this auction? Like, don't you think 41 maybe bids to buy no?
I'm not too sure. I don't know if 41's the type to get involved at that kind of low of a level. I do think there's other community members that may partake, and I mean, we've seen the kind of like the party bid pools form. Maybe they would try and vote. I imagine beautiful NFTs is going to kick it off with a controversial 4 bid, so that someone is forced to like outbid him just because he's got the ETH to play around with, and he wants to draw attention to the pool.
Yeah.
What that bid is, I don't know, but it could be a lot.
You think the opening bid is going to be like more than the floor?
I could see it being like 0.2 to half an ETH.
Yeah.
I think it'd be crazy to see like an ETH bid. I could see it being 0.2 to like half an ETH just to start it off. I don't know what your thoughts are. There's no basis in any of these numbers, but
no, my thought. I've been really clear about this. Actually, I'm out on a limb. I think these are going to get huge. I think there are going to be a lot of people in these pools. I think there's going to be a lot at stake, and in the right circumstance, it's going to be rational to bid and to budget for that in your proposal. And I think it's really a game-changing meta. And just if I could jump back to our Figma for a second, been trying to get some feedback from community members, and I asked about voting pools, and one comment that really stuck here was beautiful here, controversial, whatever. I know there's a lot of hate for this, but he said, look, voting pools are here to stay, and this is something that incontrovertibly true. I think that these pools, the contracts have been written, they're online. People are going to use these pools to try and earn passive income or for whatever purpose they want. And there's not going to be a technical way to stop them.
Yeah, once it's deployed, it's deployed. And so maybe this incantation of the pool doesn't exist, but some form of it will always exist. I mean, the vote bidding has been around for months now, but it was fairly obscure and it was only one vote. And so clearly one vote wasn't really valued, but now 40, 60, it's a whole nother story. It's hit kind of critical mass, and yeah, it will never go away, to be honest. I know a lot of people just want to kind of ignore it and pretend like it doesn't exist, but it's too late. And it was bound to happen. And I do think that it's better to like experiment with this stuff earlier than later.
Yeah. Got an interesting comment here from Nouns Tube, who says bid, and if needed, then submit a prop to retro fund yourself. That's kind of interesting, because then what if you need to? What if you need the
to buy
bids to pass your retro funding?
Perpetual bidding. I mean, perpetual like funding for the Federation. Nouns Tube, this guy, I don't know who he is, but he's a little crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather see a line item for like the governance pool than for brand synergy creation. And a prop. Sorry, I don't know. We're live.
I like that. I like that. There's some points.
That's a callback to a
there.
prop. I won't.
Yeah, but no, point taken that It really does seem like something you could legitimately put in a prop. And what I was thinking is you could just say, vote buying, up to 5 ETH, and I'll return whatever I don't use,
I thought about that today. I started writing my own prop, and I thought about just putting in like some funny light items, and one of those was going to be something just like that. I don't think I actually would, but part of me, like, I just can't help like making jokes and being like a little sarcastic with it. So I thought about it.
I mean, you're gonna have to do that, man. I think.
Or some anonymous, some anonymous patron may do it. I mean, the first prop that was swayed was the Cozy Finance one, and that was I guess in a non-wallet that tipped the scale at the end, but
yeah. So just to sort of make my point here, I mean, if you start out with a no from the pool, so if you refuse to bid on it, and let's say you get a no from POAP, a no from Will, a no from DCF, before you've even started, you need to find 160 votes and get 0 other no's to pass a prop.
yeah, I mean the OX47, that's a no as well, and that's not even counting some of the other max no maxis or whatever you want to call them. I don't know them by address, but they're out there. One of these numerical, alphanumerical ones. That's a lot of votes. It's crazy. I mean, I think I may experience it soon if I actually come through with this prop in the next week.
Yeah, I mean, you see the challenge you face here. Even if you get like Nounders and 22 and 41 and Noun 12 and Little Nouns, and Nounsel, like, you still need another 30 votes.
Yeah.
You can get Seneca, you can get, like P-Nouns, you get a bunch of these ones, boom, boom. People who probably don't vote, but a bunch of these. And, like, you still lose by a lot.
It's kind of crazy. This is tough to look at.
Yeah. Let's say Wiz votes for you. Wiz has 2. The Bauer, Coral Orca, Gami, the Pencil. Like, you still lost, man.
Yeah. I guess if you abstain on the Federation pool, then you're kind of back in the game. I think that's still my strategy, is abstain if I choose to feed the pool with some ETH. Or, other people may feed it on your behalf. We're about to see that take place on one of these props. One of those parties actually performed their first on-chain action for the stamps now, Prop 322.
Oh, amazing.
So it's kind of crazy.
Did you pull that party into the Figma? I'd love to show that.
Yeah, sort of. It's not the best, but it's somewhere in there.
All right, let's jump to that. All right, I'm gonna let you take over here. Yeah, show us this party bid. So it looks like you're muted, by the way.
Oh man, okay. So Noun 40 started about 1 day, 7 hours ago. There was a lot of chatter on Twitter, and a lot of people kind of had this idea, and he just kind of went for it. So he led the party, and he kept it kind of simple, more experimental, only 30 slots. So, there's like a ceiling to what they could raise and bid. And I'm kind of curious if that will not even be enough at some point. Because 0.6 ETH is kind of the maximum here. And it's super telegraphed, the moves, to kind of orchestrate an on-chain action, as we see here, from a group this big. And to have it so visible is going to make it tough to kind of compete against maybe one individual that can kind of just monitor and submit something at the end. So I'm kind of interested to see how effective this method is, but we saw a bunch of people partake. And the first on-chain action here, 0.042 ETH, which we saw on the Federation screen. Friend of the show, Mike Good. He's in there somewhere. And then T-Mobile and Wiz, who kind of helped create or fully created the Federation pool, is even participating. And I think if you did a flow chart of this whole thing, it would be kind of insane. I would love to see someone tackle that, like a Federation governance pool flow chart.
Yeah.
But then we saw another party pop up.
So wait, hold on. Before we move on here, so Yutong, shout out Noun Zagora, friend of the pod, friend of the stream. So he proposed to bid 0.042 ETH on which one? Let me find that.
Yeah, that's my fault because I didn't do the drop down. So I'll paste it here real quick. So this is kind of the drop down here. You can see proposal ID is 322, and then a 1 on the integer kind of denotes a 4 vote. So the party decided to vote for 322 at 0.042. Whether that holds up, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see. But I don't know why you would outbid it if you're beautiful, because now finally someone else is partaking and it's not just your funds that are being redistributed to you and other people. It's other people's funds. But who knows? Maybe it's not all about the money necessarily for some people. It's kind of more about the game.
I mean, in a sense, these pools here, they're almost like the real decision makers. They're like the like the secret elite prop choosers who are going to decide at the margins these 62 votes at a time.
On some props, yeah. I mean, we've seen other props, like I said before, that the governance pool didn't really come into play much. But I think we have a few coming up that it's going to swing a lot. But then, yeah, we saw this other kind of party appear from T-Mobile. The big difference here is unlimited mints. So there's no cap to it as long as it's in the time frame. There's only a day left to mint, though. And it's even though it's unlimited, it hasn't grown to quite the size. So not really much funds to do too much. So I don't know how this one's going to play out. And then actually, if you dig a little bit deeper on this next chunk down here.
Well, they've got 0.24 ETH, right?
Yeah. I guess you could play around, but I mean, not as much as 0.6. But yeah.
That's like what, five floor bids?
Yeah.
4 floor bids?
So we'll see how impactful. But then if you dig a little deeper, T-Mobile was piloting this concept almost 2 weeks ago. And so I don't know if he really tried with this one, but he at least piloted the concept, and then someone took it, and now he is trying it again with Wiz. Not as much success, I guess, on the fundraising as the other pool, but interesting to see pools competing against other pools on pools.
Also, one other comment I'll make about this is always interesting when a lot of people come up on the same idea independently. So like I saw, I think Corella had tweeted about it. Now 40 came, had his own idea. T-Mobile had already done it. Just those kinds of ideas are interesting when a bunch of people sort of all kind of start doing the same thing.
Yeah, it is interesting. I saw it quite a few different places. And then I just threw this in, but now just kind of dropped their first content of their latest season, content piece of their latest season, and had some similar vibes to what we're doing right now, just a little bit more structured and produced and condensed. But they did a little bit of a quick, deep. I guess I don't know. Can you do a quick and deep dive on governance pools, kind of like what we're doing right now? So just interesting to see. I don't know if you watched it yet.
I did watch it and I loved it. It is deep in that if you're not as deep as you and I are, I imagine I don't know, it's kind of hard to do the surface level version of this because it's an issue that, it's like, it's a new capability, it's new technology that, impacts the whole protocol in sort of different and unconventional ways, and seems scammy to some people, but to me it just feels like it's just a new metagame that everyone playing Nouns is going to have to adapt to it. I mean, we'll see if kind of the pool people end up forking out, but I have a sense that there are going to be people who want to earn some passive income and like the way the experiment plays out. And it's just going to be part of the metagame. Like, you can go to that big board and you can see how hard it's going to be to pass without it. But that just seems like the new Nouns evolution.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I guess like some of the complaints were that it makes something like unfriendly to people proposing, but like the game was already super complicated to begin with. I don't know, like once you get past a certain threshold, does it really matter how many layers get added on? I'm not too sure yet, but it's very interesting. I would love to know what like someone brand new to Nouns thinks of it, or their experience with it, if they understand it, grasp it. Maybe we got to have one of these proposers on that's kind of on the newer side to walk through and talk through it. But yeah, I don't know. The game keeps getting complicated week by week. More complicated.
Yep. Yep, and just layer this on top of like Quorum. I mean, I swear, I pull up props now and I look at Quorum and I kind of don't quite remember how it works. But yes, most complicated, difficult game ever, which is sort of kind of a meme, I think, that maybe we could develop. Like, come play Nouns. It's like extremely hard and extremely frustrating. And even when you think like you win, you actually have to like pay money to win. And then when you try to do that, you're still probably going to lose.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe we've talked about it once, but like trying to create like an actual board game rule book for Nouns. I don't even know how that would look, but or if you could distill it into like an instruction sheet for a board game, but whew, it's getting crazy. DAO V3 is going to take it up a notch too.
Yeah, it sure will. Speaking of which, did you see the spec? We really should plug this. But there's a Code for Arena audit going on right now. Let me pull this up. You can find this on my Twitter. I tweeted about this a couple days ago. Yeah, okay. So there's a $100,000 prize pool right now, July 3rd to July 13th for the Nouns DAO V3 audit. Did you take a look at this by any chance?
I have looked at it. It's probably definitely out of my element, but super interesting. I wish this was something that I could probably easily partake in. But I also did read the So this is like audit number 2 of 1. I mean, this is audit number 2. Then audit number 1, this is spear bits, and I kind of read that summary. It's out there somewhere on GitHub. But
I read it too.
Oh, there
Isn't
it is.
It kind of scary. It was pretty scary to me.
It's kind of overwhelming. It's also very long. Like it just keeps going and going. But I mean, if you really wanted to, like, if you read this whole thing from start to finish, you must really be into nouns, because it's a lot.
I mean, doesn't this top one, isn't this kind of scary? Any signer can cancel a pending proposal to grief the proposal process.
I mean, it would be scary if it wasn't caught, you know? So at this point, no, because it's obviously going to be fixed and changed. So I guess that's why you audit. But yeah. If it made it into the production, then yeah. Did you read all these? It's a lot.
No, I sort of skimmed through, but a lot of them said severity high, severity medium.
From what I read, like filtered through, like, you know, someone more knowledgeable than myself, it's nothing actually too crazy at the end of the day. Like there's no like completely overwhelming existential like risk with this audit, but just like good quality findings to change.
Yep. Okay, yeah, one thing I did want to mention here, spec. Okay, so we got the Federation voting pools, and then we got the Nouns DAO v3. So you and I had kind of joked about this, this number 3 here, right? This is like a sudden death where it adds like extra time, but only for no voters. Do you remember this?
Yeah. Originally, I think both of our sentiment was that it's just like maybe a little too much complexity, or just I guess a little too much complexity on an already complex game. But I don't know. Has your feeling changed at all after recent proposals?
Well, here's how my feeling has changed: isn't this sort of like a kind of a rebuttal to the voting pools? Like, let's say an unsavory proposer, you know, buys the 4 vote, and it's in the last 30 minutes of the auction. Then basically that, like, if you buy the vote, it allows like a rebuttal period. See what I mean?
Yeah. A conditional voting period that gets activated upon a last-minute proposal swing from the defeated to successful, affording against voters more reaction time. Does it dive deeper at lower on the page?
Yeah.
Right. There it is. Yeah, see, during the objection only period, accounts who have already voted cannot vote. Accounts who haven't voted yet can only vote against. So I don't really know how impactful that actually is, but it is interesting.
Yeah. So, okay, just to do one more plug here, and please, you can grab this on my Twitter at LilPanda.wtf. But there's right now a code for Arena Audit. You can win up to $100,000. Prize pool paid for by Nouns. Shout out this graphic here with the noggles on the, what are these, wolves?
Yeah, they're auditing the code right now, I guess.
Yeah. It's
a cool graphic.
Yeah. And so this goes on for another 8 days. Check it out. And at the very worst, you can learn about the spec and maybe learn about the code. All right. Let's see. Let's jump back into kind of we had the last topic tonight was going to be quick shout out Surf Mogu. Let's see, where do I have that? This is the tool that Martin has been building. It's now up on chain somewhere.
Yeah, it's not on that file, but we used it earlier. So, oh, there it is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Tiny. There it is. Yeah.
On chain right now, it's kind of in the middle of the vote. Threshold 97, only 21 against. But it's very reasonably priced, put up by Krell. Index is already a yes. You can see.
I'm a easy yes on this one. I really like kind of this meta of building a product, discovering that people really like it and use it, and then wanting to continue work at a very reasonable rate. I'd like to see a lot more of that, I think.
Yeah. I'd honestly just like to see Surf Mogu get better and better. It's got this feature that I don't know, you and I had been like wanting but too lazy to build, and he just kind of built it. Kind of exactly what we wanted. Shout out Martin. He's been around nouns, little nouns, all over for a long time. I agree. Easy yes. Shout out Mogu. All right. Okay. So last topic here, Prop 324. We talked about this a little bit before the show. You didn't seem too worried about it, but this is proposal 324. Do we know who proposed it, or do we know anything about the proposer?
Not really. Very recently funded wallet, about 100 ETH in from Coinbase, acquired 3 nouns, and that's kind of all we know, really. So
how did they acquire them? At auction or on secondary?
I think one was secondary and the other 2 were auction. But you're challenging my knowledge at this point. But I believe that's true. I think 737 was acquired on Blur, maybe. And the other 2 were auction. Yep. Look at me. I don't know. I need something else in life.
Cute Panda and the peyote. I was looking at this one the other day when it came up for auction. I really love the peyote. It's just something about a happy peyote, like a happy cactus, and that big wide grin. I love this one.
Yeah, I like this one too. It's just kind of like an absurd noun in many ways. Like who would think to include this in the collection first off, and then just to have it so kind of like silly looking. But 100 ETH in, Blur, auction house. So this wallet moves quick.
No other NFTs, no other ERC20s, no ENS. Just drops 100 ETH in and gets on chain just a couple days later.
Yep. So, speed running nouns.
Amazing prop here. Shortest prop ever with 0 description. Which is kind of amazing. And I love...
Even the transaction is short.
Yeah, it caused me to click on this because I'm like, gosh, well, it's nothing to read. And click on this and you can see that, or actually, let me click over here. It's this function here, OX8456CB59, which pauses the nouns auction house.
Yep. It's crazy. I know that. Yeah.
Games have pausing, unpausing. I feel like, yeah, I mean, obviously the point you made, which I hadn't thought of, is proposals are still going to go on. It's just the daily auction. Um, but yeah, this is a game here that anyone can just drop 100 ETH in and just try to pause the auction, and then someone else would theoretically unpause it. Um, hmm. Yeah, what are your other thoughts on this prop?
Yeah, I guess that is kind of the big thing of that. This just pauses the auctions. It doesn't pause like governance. But if the DAO, if this prop is capable of being passed, then in some ways, like a social level, and not necessarily like at a contract or code level, like governance may be sort of paused or like altered heavily, just not with a function. Like I think if this prop passes, then that signals something quite bigger. But I don't know. I think I was saying that I might be a little bit biased. I'm obviously an against vote on this one. I like the meme. I'm a meme purist. One noun every day forever, even though it's technically slightly more than one noun in rate. But I think there's a lot of people that will normally vote against a prop, but for different reasons than like this prop. Mostly just because they're more financially conservative. They have a little bit more of a critical eye on proposals and funding amounts. And then again, like spending could still occur, even if things are paused. So I don't know if I'm missing something, but I don't fully wrap my head around how this actually plays out or matters too much, other than messing with the meme.
Yeah. Seems to me like you'll probably vote with reason on this one. Is this going to be a VWR for you?
It could be. It would probably just be short, meme-ish, I actually have thought about my reason already, but I don't know if I have one locked down.
Have you thought about ever trying to be the lead-off voter? Because if ever there was an opportunity, I would think like something that you feel passionately about. You're a meme purist. Like maybe try and get your vote in. Maybe we could even do a live vote. It's kind of middle of the day.
Okay. I can try to be number
Friday.
one here.
Yeah, it's Friday.
I'm around 3 Mountain, 5 Eastern. Let me check. I should be around. Maybe that's a good goal. Get off vote. Have my reason queued up, ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think there is something about that. Like the base layer nounish is just about the meme, like one noun every day forever. That could almost be the vote with reason. Again,
I probably that's like the easy one to go with. Maybe a Noggles 2 or something. Oh man, yeah, I don't know. It might just be one noun every day forever as the reason. But I keep thinking about this. I don't know if this is a good analogy, but like in USA, you got people who like I don't know if they're called constitutionalists. I don't really pay attention to politics too much, but like they want to preserve the Constitution as it was written.
Yep.
And here in like nouns, like we want to preserve the meme, but it's almost like two opposite ends of the spectrum, but same kind of like stick to the original document.
Yeah, what you're talking about is like a tool of constitutional interpretation of like originalism. Well, there's a couple different ones. There's like originalism, there's original intent, there's like the true meaning of the words. I think what you're saying is sort of like the original vision of nouns is one noun every day forever. It wasn't, one noun every day until somebody, proposes this function and a majority support. It was one noun every day forever.
I mean, they did code a pause function into the auction house, so it was that was built in there from the start. But yeah, I'm an against. I'll try and be the leadoff vote maybe. just for fun. It's good provenance, maybe, if you're on the meme side.
Yeah, pimp it. Plus, for something that you feel so strongly about, just seems like, you could use your vote. You could vote at the end, or you could use your vote and then hopefully impact other votes. I think that's one of your skills. I think you're sort of like a noun-fluencer.
I don't know if I am yet, but also not this vote. Maybe specifically, people probably already have. I don't know if people are going to be swayed. I feel like you got your vision on this one, and that's it. But oh my God, unless paused. Shout out. Oh, that Nouns Tube. Sorry, Nouns Tube. Our secret admirer.
Do we know who Nouns Tube is?
Mike Good.
Of course it's Mike. Hey, one more tangent, by the way. About you talked about sort of a governance pause, I think is what you called it.
Stalemate, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, let me get to that right now. So I'm going to go to, this is the verbs, nouns, forks, spec. Now, I believe when the forking threshold is reached, then I believe that pauses everything, doesn't it? Doesn't it like call a convention?
It does pause the auctions. But it can't really pause governance, because how can you pass a proposal to unpause the auctions if governance is paused? And you couldn't pass a proposal to unpause governance if governance is paused. If I made any sense there.
Okay, here's
like
my question.
If you pause governance, I read this like term, and not related to this, but in that audit, but you brick the DAO if you pause governance. Because then you can never have a proposal to unpause it. If that, I don't know, like, right?
Well, let's make sure those auditors, yeah, I mean, I'm sure.
But yeah, the auctions start paused, I believe, which is controversial too, because it's another way to alter the meme by forking.
Okay, but look here, forking period. During this period, original DAO proposals can't be executed. So I think here's what this means is, like, let's say someone signals they want to fork. And then the next day, someone puts up a prop that says, hey, let's take all the ETH and steal it from the people who want to fork. If they could execute that prop before this, escrow period or the forking period ends, then basically you could be malicious against a forker. You see what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of forgot about this point. I guess that's like a brief pause. Different than the pause I was imagining. But yeah. I kind of forgot about this part. That once a fork is signaled, proposals are kind of on hold. It does essentially pause the DAO, actually. I had kind of forgotten.
And I think they bumped this up to 14 days, I think. But I guess it'll be a variable up for vote. But it seems reasonably likely that this condition is going to happen, and there is going to be this period of, props can't be executed.
Now, the only way, I guess, I'm thinking of like a way to circumvent this is to pass a proposal beforehand that sends funds to maybe a multi-sig or something, and it unofficially keeps governance going through prop house or something. This is almost like bootlegged governance in the prohibition era.
Yeah,
we're gonna be going into governance speakeasies trying to pass props.
Yeah, I mean, except the governance speakeasy could be like a contract, you know?
I'm actually wondering if anyone has thought of this yet as like a way. So there's got to be someone a little bit smarter, more experienced, coming up with like a solution to the potential DAO pause.
Yeah. Hey,
But I don't know.
One more thing. Have you checked out this? Have you seen Nouns Nims? Is it? The pseudo. Have you spent any time there?
The first couple of days, and I kind of see the notifications every once in a while. I don't have one. I've never used any of the Hey Anon or anything. I don't have a pseudonym, but
just no interest in doing that.
I feel like I don't even do a good enough job like sharing my thoughts on my actual doxed account. And I don't know. I don't really like talking to an anon, like, or reading anon thoughts. It's maybe the longer this board goes, the more like valuable persistent pseudonyms becomes. But right now, I don't know if any of these pseudonyms really have developed kind of like credibility or provenance. So when I read these things, I just don't know like how much to care about the thoughts. It devalues anything written here for me.
Okay, so look at this here. Do you think the fork will happen? Here's a response from someone who claims to be poep.eth. Do we know if this could just be someone totally rando?
The purple circles indicate a pseudo. So likely not the actual POEP.
Gotcha. Okay.
If it's got a blue circle, that means it's their actual ENS or address. I think those are the colors. But again, I haven't been on in a little bit.
Yeah, so like here's poep.eth says he's pro fork. Or the person who's claiming to be poep.eth, who therefore is probably not poep.eth. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think poep will fork?
That's tough because normally I initially think like financially. But I'm not sure if the financials matter too much for him because I imagine he'd be taking quite a loss if he forked. He acquired most of his nouns at a much higher price than current book value. And so he'd be taking quite a big loss. But I don't know if the financials matter. So maybe from like a principal perspective, if he really is tired of the project and doesn't like the direction, maybe he would. But I was gonna say no, but now I don't know for sure. It's tough.
Okay, cool. So I don't know either, but yeah, you're right here. It looks like there is this blue border where it looks like this.
Yeah, this is the actual 940. He also doxed his NIM or whatever. He has another one. I think he tweeted an image of it on purpose, but yeah. I don't have one. You want to ghostwrite one for me?
I just think it's an interesting playground for the game. Like, I think if you go here, it's like, you're at least playing with someone who owns at least one noun. I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of an interesting playground. There's a lot of different ways to play nouns.
You've got to definitely trust the technology, otherwise you're risking reputation if something does go wrong. But I don't know. I haven't been bothered to make one. I thought about it for a bit, but I err on the side of laziness.
Fair enough. Well, on that note, it's been a great show. We're here every Wednesday night around this time. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Any closing thoughts? Index, where can folks find you on Twitter?
At Modrovsky, Modrovsky. I'm the index card. I wish I could change my username to just like index or something, but that's impossible. But that's me. I don't tweet very often. I got to pick up the pace. I made a little joke the other day, but that was about it. I'm not a good tweeter. I don't know. I got to pick it up.
There you go. At Modrovsky. We will see you next week, and maybe actually we'll have a surprise stream. No promises.
Friday.
But Friday, 3:24. Prop goes live about 5:15 or so. Of course, as we know, this time shifts a bit. But yeah, would love to see you do the leadoff vote here. Big vote on 3:24. And we're going to be monitoring this one closely. It'll be live by next week's show, and we'll see the vote. So on that note, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday. Of course, we'll see you Friday as well. Peace out.